Greetings, heathens and heretics, and welcome to Desertfest special. And it's really fucking special this week because we've got a drummer, but you don't have to worry about that. But we've got Uncle Mike Pearce, first time on the podcast. Kicking the door down, couldn't wait to fucking come on. So we thought, well, we've got to give him a go at some point. So he's brought his best BBC voice with him, I believe. And yeah, welcome, Uncle Mike.
Thank you for that intro. That was quite something.
It was an intro.
It was. I'm very pleased to be here on this podcast called From the Abyss, in the Abyss.
Yeah,
come on. Where's the abyss?
That's a fucking faux pas, isn't it?
Can't remember where it's from. Yes, and we're going to talk about Desertfest.
We are going to talk about Desertfest, what we can remember of Desertfest, because it is nearly 2 weeks now, so it's it requires notes. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mike sounds very polite and well spoken here, but bloody hell, that's a far cry from how things went down at the weekend.
Oh, absolutely. You're different.
Coaxing him off the roof of the Black Heart, throwing slates down on the floor.
I don't remember any of that. I must have been.
No, I actually did make that story up, but
they were tiles, not slates.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I did a felt roof when I got up there.
Oh, hello. Cat on a hot tip. Right, anyway, let's crack on.
I kind of want it to be a thatched roof. That would be great, wouldn't it?
In Camden? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. They'd be smoking it.
Yeah, they made that mistake in the Great Fire of London, right? But they don't do that anymore.
Yeah, never again. Yeah.
Anyway, look, it was like I said, it's nearly 2 weeks ago now, so we have to dig deep a little bit. But the general sort of consensus is we had a wicked weekend. It was my first one. So it's a kind of a different experience for me than these two fools. But it kicked off.
Everyone is my first one because I don't really remember the last one. It's not until day two. So when I wake up on day two, go, oh yeah, my feet hurt. Yeah, I really remember that bit about Desertfest.
But by Sunday evening, it did look like you wanted to just have a nap, really, and that was wild.
Well, that is one of the things about having a festival in Camden, and I've said this to anyone who will actually listen to me, is that there's nowhere to sit down, right? So the venues have seats, but they're always full of old and ill people generally.
Well,
there's nowhere to. Yeah, well, we did sit a couple of times, but there's like if you go to a grass festival, you can just sit on the floor. You push the chicken wings out of the way, and you can sit on the floor. But Camden,
it's true. They've got that. There's that thin slither of benches as you go down into the Electric Ballroom, isn't there? Which I think just about covers everybody.
Yeah. Well, you could go upstairs at the ballroom, but I always feel like that's a VIP area, and I feel a bit.
I've never stepped foot upstairs in the Electric Ballroom in all my life, so it feels like it's like some kind of mech up there. I don't know what goes on. Could be orgies, could be satanic rituals. Who knows?
There's only one way to find out.
Well, this is true, so maybe next time.
Where's the orgy? He says as he turns up in his pants.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here for the orgy.
I was told there will be an orgy.
Fucking hell. Well, there definitely wasn't, unfortunately. So we'll I suppose we had to make do with Tony Martin to kick off the weekend, didn't we? Which was quite
damn.
Nice.
What a way to kick off the weekend. Which it was a late announcement as well. We all primed and ready and getting prepped, and then all of a sudden they dropped the news that legendary singer of Black Sabbath is going to be doing an opening kind of it wasn't a set so much as a little fireside chat.
I think that's how they built it, wasn't it? Something like that. An interview with Tony Martin.
Yeah, like an intimate Q&A kind of thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, because they've remastered. Tony Iommi's remastered all of the albums he was on, right? And they're re-releasing those as a box set, which it's probably going to bankrupt me, but I'm going to have to own.
I mean, that's a big deal for me. I love so I'm one of those Black Sabbath fans that thinks every era of Sabbath matters. It's all great stuff. So. All the stuff with Tony Martin has been forgotten about for a long time. It's not available. It was all released on, I think, IRS, which I don't think exists anymore as a record company. So there's lots of stuff tied up in that why it hasn't been available. Anyway, just as Mike said, Tony Iommi's taken it on himself to kind of give some attention back to that era of Black Sabbath. And they've remixed and remastered. I think Forbidden actually is the only one that's had a remix. They've gone back and totally remixed that. Now, I haven't got the box set yet, but I've listened to some of it online and it does sound phenomenal. And that Forbidden album is the one that kind of has got swept under the carpet. Like it's widely regarded as the worst Black Sabbath album, if you want to put it that way.
Is that the one he was talking about where it had iced tea on it?
Yes. So produced by Ernie C. It features a rap in the first track from Ice-T, which, listening to Tony Martin talking about it kind of made more sense, actually, because if you look at what was going on around the band at that time, you had Judgment Night and kind of all these hip hop,
DMC and Aerosmith.
Run DMC, Anthrax and Public Enemy, all that stuff was going on. So I think they just kind of wanted to, give that a stab.
The record label wanted to give it a stab.
Yeah, the record, the powers that be. Anyway.
Hey, listen, hip hop.
I listened to the single. They put out a couple of singles from that album, and they sound fucking immense. Tony Martin was saying this on the night, on the afternoon. Sorry, it was in the afternoon, wasn't it? That he heard it and just a big smile broke out over his face, and he just thought, finally, it sounds like it's supposed to sound, and it does. It really does.
They're releasing singles like it's a new album.
They've done a couple of, like, if you go on, Spotify and whatever you stream your music on, they've dropped a few tracks along the way. So there's a mix of Headless Cross, Anno Monday from the Tear album, which I think is a phenomenal album. We could do an episode on how much I love that album. They've just paired together some tracks as a taster, and it sounds incredible. So if you haven't given any time to the Tony Martin era, and it is the unpopular era of Sabbath, but it's well worth your time and attention.
I quite enjoyed listening to Tony Martin. Actually, he was quite lucid. Like he's like the opposite of how I imagine.
He was
quite normal.
You say like fireside chat. It was a bit like that, wasn't it? He just seemed like really laid back, normal guy. Amazing jacket. Give him credit for that.
He looked mild down comfortable though. It's like I wonder if he dresses like that regularly.
I hope so. I hope he dresses like go down the chippy.
I mean, I think he is just kind of a bit of a regular guy, and I think that's his strength, but also probably the reason why he's not seen in the same regard, held in the same regard as like Ozzy and Dio, who were these huge personalities, and he's just. I mean, I use the word just, but he's a fantastic singer. He's an incredible singer, but the charisma of Ozzy and Dio just kind of wasn't there, and maybe for better or worse. But it did make for a lovely listen, just to sit and hear him tell stories about Russian tours, and there was the story he told where they'd be playing a gig, and then this was like one of their first gigs in Russia after the whole place had like opened up again. And that little woman that would walk on stage while they were playing and just tell everyone off and tell them to stop throwing things and stop making noise. So you've got Tony Iommi like mid gig, just like, what's going on here? As it's like, in my head, I just imagine like this little barmaid toppling on. Yeah.
My favorite quote from that whole section was, "Is it for sale?"
Look,
when he mentioned that poster that they'd drawn on, that they'd added the extra art to.
I saw a picture of that online.
Is it for sale?
Yeah, that was me. Yeah, I had to. Look, it's a prime bit of memorabilia. That I was open to.
We'd only had free beers
offers.
Well.
Yeah, but this is what happens when you start drinking at 10:30 in the morning.
This is true.
Yeah, we started with the Judas Priest rum actually, first thing in the morning at 11 a.m.
Is that any good as a side? Is it?
It is delicious actually. So just to hey, look, this is just to fill everyone in. This is what goes on the pre Desertfest party. So Mike came over to my place just to kick things off, and a couple of month or so earlier, he gifted me a bottle of the Judas Priest commemorative rum, and I think they they brought it out around the Firepower, and like I held it off on opening it because it's like, right, okay, we're gonna wait for a special occasion for this one. So sure enough, Desertfest Day, popped it open, and we had a little toast, pre-Desertfest toast to kick things off with the Judas Priest rum, and it was fucking delicious, really, really good.
Yeah, it was nice, very creamy, caramelly. It's not a cheap rum.
Well,
it's not Captain Morgan kind of stuff.
What the finest spiced rum.
Yeah, obviously it's been squeezed through the thighs of every member
of Rob Halford.
Oh, can you imagine?
It's just they pulled it down his back and they just
that's
put a
it.
cup under his butt crack. And anyway, should we talk
no,
about some bands? Did you see any bands at Desertfest?
Well, yeah, not Rob Halford's crack. So first band were Frankie and the Witchfingers, who I'd never heard before, and I thoroughly enjoyed them in a very sort of funky, kind of fuzzy, slightly odd juxtaposition going on with the band members on stage, but it all kind of worked, didn't it? They're really cool.
I found out recently their bass player is called Nicky Pickle, which I think is a wonderful reason to just get into a band.
Yeah, I thought it sounded a little bit like All Them Witches, not as slow, but they had a similar kind of sound.
Yeah,
they quite enjoyed it. Good kickoff for the weekend. Actually,
they're one of those bands where I went in with no expectations. You know, it's kind of like you go and see them because they're, you know, the first band on, so you just kind of make your way down. And it's like, okay, right, let's see what they got to offer, you know. And it's just this nice little fuzz thing going on, which was very cool.
I think any bands sorry, dude, any bands trying to play Desertfest, like you either want to be the first band of the day or a headliner, right? Because every first band was rammed. Doesn't matter where you know what venue was playing the first band. It was full up. Yeah,
but he's the best place to be. It worked. But yeah, I've gone back and listened to them again on a couple of albums as well, and it's really good. It was a lot more raucous live than it sounds on record, which is, you know, to be expected. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed them, and at this point, they were my favorite band of the weekend.
Right? And look, that's one of the cool things, isn't it? You check these bands out, you walk away with like new favorite bands, you know, or a whole list of records you're going to go and buy or something like that. It's the beauty of a festival like Desertfest.
That's something I got from this weekend in a way I've never got from a festival, because normally, you know, we go to Bloodstock or whatnot, you know, 95% of the bands anyway, but something like Desertfest, there's all this wonderful stuff that you've never heard of, or you might just have a taster of, and yeah, you come away and there's probably 4 or 5 bands that I've come away from it, you know, really like.
I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to like the couple of weeks before Desertfest. I make a little spreadsheet and put all the bands off the website, and then go and have a listen, add them all, whether I'm using Tidal or Spotify, whatever I'm using at that time. Like I'll go and add the top 3 tracks from every band, listen to it all, and and then if I'm out about listening, I'll like the track in the app, and then I'll go and have a look, and then add them to the list, and then filter it by the ones I want to see in happy days.
Right, you can't bring that level of thought to this podcast. That's too far.
Well, listen, I go to the music. I go to the festivals for the music, right, and hanging out with mates, obviously. But I couldn't. It's like I couldn't do something like Glastonbury where you just go and like juggle fire and take pills and stuff, right? The music's like a secondary thing. Like it's all about the music, and I want to, you know, tickets aren't cheap, and I want to maximize the value of my ticket. But I also want to, like Ben was saying, like you'll find your new favorite band, right? So I want to see as many bands as possible in case I don't want to miss my new favorite band.
Right. Yeah, completely right. Completely.
Yeah, which you might do by walking to the Roundhouse because it takes so long. Sorry, being interrupted.
No, this is true. This is true. But I was going to say you weren't the only one, because you know you look around outside the Black Heart, which is kind of like the center of it all, really. And you can see people like pulling out spreadsheets and pulling out little bits of paper and lists and things like that. And everyone's, you know, running their finger over it. Okay, right. How much time have we got to get to this venue? You know, plotting their route through the day.
The only one you got to be careful of is the Black Heart. Because if there's a band on there you want to see, you can't get there halfway through.
There was a band that I really wanted to see that I missed for that reason. We'll probably talk about that when we get to Sunday.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Did anyone vaguely remember seeing a band called Ackersborg in the Dev?
Yeah, we saw them in the Dev.
I vaguely remember I remember a White Zombie riff in there somewhere for some reason, but that's kind of all I can.
They're on an album. They're a lot of fun. It didn't really come across live, but we were right at the back of the Dev and it was pretty noisy, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember there being synths and stage.
Sort of, it was pretty weirdy stuff going on. Yeah, but you know, again, that's like straight away you can know that's what Desertfest is, isn't it? There's all sorts of eclectic stuff on the go. I mean, from an outside point of view, like Voice of Reason, for instance, said he wouldn't necessarily go to Desertfest because he's not really into stoner music. Well, I'm trying to recall how many stoner bands I actually saw over the weekend, because it was all this massive mishmash of all sorts of things. So it's
there was. I felt like this year that the the stages are a bit more consistent with the kind of style of music
Yeah.
on the day. So I can't remember which day Monkey Free played Saturday, but like all day it was kind of like prog day in that room.
Saturday that was, wasn't it, in the Underworld?
Saturday,
Yeah.
I felt like it was a bit more like that. But then like you're going to see the outliers at places like the Dev, right? Because it's you know, it's the smallest stage. I'm doing air quotes, but it's a podcast, so it's the smallest stage.
I mean, I think they are just getting. I think we talked about this on like the kind of preview episode, and it's like they are just branching out a bit more. It's not just a stoner festival now. You know, it's at the heart of it. It's and this we'll get again when we talk about Sunday. We'll get to this, but at the heart of it, it's a celebration of Black Sabbath. You know, which is why it was so apt to open with Tony Martin, but. You know, Black Sabbath were a varied band, and so much comes off of that. You know, and we were watching thrash, we were watching like instrumental, kind of these huge arrangements, huge sounds. We were watching traditional heavy metal. It's all in there.
Yeah, and that's what I did love about it. From there on, then second band on. Sorry, in the ballroom, Mondo Master. Sorry, I've got them written down as Mondo Masturbator, Mondo Generator.
Mondo Generator.
You've got that orgy upstairs on your mind.
Yeah, it's just it. It's in there now. I'll have to deal with that later on.
They were pretty desert festy. They were pretty.
Yeah.
There was some meaty riffs. It was a bit. It wasn't stoner, but it was definitely like.
It's like a punky take on it, I suppose.
I think it's punk, isn't it? It's desert punk. Yeah, very cool. You know.
And did Alan's Wrench, Caius as well, dropped in the middle of the set out of nowhere, which I thought was really cool. And Nick Oliveri, you know what to expect with someone like him, and you're going to get plenty of energy and a bit of attitude and just, you know, good fun. And it was upbeat, and I enjoyed it. I don't really know any of their material, Mondo Generator, so
no, I mean they're just a band I kind of dip into. You know, they're not a band I've bought any of their stuff, but they come on. You know, I'm not going to turn them off, and they were great live. And you know, Nick Oliveri is, you know, he's a legend in the scene, so it's an early treat. You know, another legend, kind of early in the festival.
Yeah, to be fair, you had straight after that you had Brant Bjork, so you had, you know, your Caius representation was pretty strong, but didn't really take to that as much, did we? Just,
I mean,
Festy 101.
Listen, I've seen Brant Bjork live a few times and really, really, really enjoyed it. So, you know, no shade on him, but that set just didn't hit for me.
No, it's just something. I think I think we mentioned this a couple of times over the weekend, that you see these bands, and if you don't recognize the material, obviously it doesn't penetrate in the same way. That's a fairly obvious point to make, but it was one of those instances where just, you know, it just kind of fell short. Everything just kind of sounded the same.
Yeah.
Hold on. This was at the ballroom.
Yeah.
Where you want to have an orgy and you're talking about penetrating sets.
And you say
I didn't realize it was going to be this kind of podcast. If I'd known that, I was like the dick in the mashed potato.
What do you think In the Abyss refers to?
I've said that line on this podcast before.
Who's got the abyss? It's like throwing a sausage up an alleyway. Anyway, Brant Bjork Trio. I enjoyed it.
It was cool.
I do like some desert rock, especially after a few beers.
I think it was. I was going to say, I think it would have worked later on. That's like, you know, you need to be a little bit fuzzy, I think.
Yeah, it was pretty early on for you know, the third legend of the day, right? Mind you, Penny White was on first, so what do I know?
Well, yeah, that's true. But there was a big crowd in there, obviously. So, you know, like I said, it's kind of Desertfest royalty, I suppose. If ever there was going to be a place for a Caius reunion, it would probably be there. So, you know.
Do you know, I once saw Brant Bjork playing drums with Mark King from Level 42.
What the fuck?
It just
how do you get two people behind the same drum kit?
No, Mark King's a bass player. So I was. I'm just going off on a mad tangent here because I'm just reminiscing on all the different times I've seen him play live. Because, you know, he's been in a lot of bands, so he turns up. Sometimes he's doing guitar, and sometimes behind drums. But years ago, in the same venue, I saw Mass Mental, which was a Rob Trujillo's side project. So it's Rob Trujillo, another bass player. This I can't remember his name. Looked like he came from like the sort of world music scene, like kind of his African bass player. Brant Bjork on drums, And then they had various special guests came on. Phil Campbell came on, did a song with them. And then right at the end, Mark King came out in this tight little leather jacket and light up fret markers all down his bass guitar and did the full on bass under his chin, the full on massive thumb thing going on.
Where was that?
This was at the Electric Ballroom. I mean, about 9-10 years ago.
You go to some of the weirdest fucking gigs you do.
Man, I wasn't going to turn it down.
Also, he knows how to pronounce Rob Trujillo's name. Like, well, good. I mean, that needs to go.
It felt like I was jumping out of a plane a little bit. I just kind of like opened my mouth and started to say it and hope for the best. But it was a great gig, and that's the one that Bjork has got a top because that was the most enjoyable.
Because he played with Mark King.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I kind of expected him to come out and.
It sounds like both a low and a high bar.
I know, and that's the beauty of it.
All right, that's right. Fucking hell, yeah, that's a tangent and a half. After that, we went over to the Underworld, first band on the Underworld of the weekend. It's the Wake, a band I really wanted to see. Again, completely out of the Desertfest normal kind of fare. I suppose they started as a grindcore band and they're grindy, deathy, a bit doomy sort of thing. But I really liked them on record and I thought they were good live. But I did another one of these bands where I did struggle to sort of. I'm not going to say the P word again because it'll just set him off. But it didn't quite hit home enough. But they were good live, and I thought they were powerful and quite impressive. So I'll take that.
Yeah, it's an interesting point actually because I think it speaks to the level to which kind of recording technology has come on. It's relatively easy. I use the word easy. I don't mean easy, but it's achievable to make a really powerful sounding album.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of technology available to any musician really to do that. But if you can't bring it live, then what you're doing.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of intricacies to their music, and it's all clear as day on record. But in the Underworld, it didn't. I don't know whether it was down to the sound or what, but it just didn't quite cut through in the same way. It was a bit of a shame, but I thought they were still cool. It was probably the most aggressive band of the whole weekend. Well, comfortably the most.
Yeah, I agree with that. But to your point being like, if you're making intricate noises on albums because you've got utmost control over mic placement, and where the knobs are on the deck and that kind of stuff. But when you're not the headliner at a gig, you've got to poke up with what the soundman does, right? So and especially when they've got like a 30-minute turnaround for bands,
of course. And look, they
tweak stuff.
They sounded big, they sounded thick, it's heavy enough. And, we probably also we're enough beers in that our heads are a little bit kind of, woolly. It's just that point in the day already, and we're still early on.
Just to be clear, that was 6 p.m. Yeah, 6 p.m.
There you go.
See those guys.
There says Mr. Spreadsheet there.
Still got my Desertfest printouts.
Oh man,
you can't see them. Podcast, you can hear them.
Yeah, Russ. There you go. Russ. There.
They smell of beer and tacos, and not that we had any tacos
and kebabs.
It's wet. Yeah.
Do either of you remember seeing Colour Haze?
I do remember seeing Colour Haze. I thought they were pretty good. It was
very psychedelic-y.
Widdly. There were some widdly solos, and the thing I remember most about them is the drummer sat sideways.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, he was facing like stage left. But they were good. It's a big hair, and background was all colourful. That's what I remember. But there was some good riffs, and a bit of a groove. I don't think it was hugely busy though. I remember.
No.
What venue was this? Remind me. Where were we?
It was a ballroom.
The ballroom, wasn't it?
Right.
It was proggy. Let's put it out there. It was proggy.
It's probably why you don't remember it, Steve.
More than likely, yeah. Just like that, I think.
Yeah. It wasn't as proggy as God, I forgot the name. Tentacles, Osric Tentacles.
Osric Testicles,
yeah.
Similar thing going, very psychedelic, lots of backdrop color and projections and
tie-dye and all that.
Yeah, all manner of stuff. But
we shot over to the Dev quickly and caught a bit of Warp Stormer, British a British metal band. Really, there's no sort of two ways about it. I thought they were really good, fucking good like bands like Orange Goblin, Motorhead, even Your Lot, The Grudge, just deliver it heavy, fast, good fun. Yeah, really enjoyable. Singer's a character. Singer's a real fucking character. I liked him a lot.
Looks a bit like Bill Bailey.
He did look a bit like Bill Bailey, yeah. Before the baldness kicked in, yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I thought it was good. It was good fun. It was good rock and roll.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll take that all day long. Bit of rock and roll, yes, please.
Yeah, just big old riffs and plenty of sort of rock star poses and a pair of aviator sunglasses. You can't really go wrong with it.
The sound was good as well. Actually, the sound was good in the Dev.
You know what? The sound in the Dev all weekend was decent, which I was glad of because there was quite a few bands in there I wanted to see. And
I had a little chat with the sound guy actually when on the Sunday, and he was explaining how it all works, and he kind of sets it up for the headliner band for the day, and then like saves their preset. I mean, apologies if I'm teaching you guys to suck eggs here, but he like saves their preset, and then for every other band that comes on, he's live tweaking it, which I thought was pretty good. He walks around with an iPad. He's just a bit hard sometimes.
It is a bit sometimes in the Dev it is a bit like they're setting up for Stadium Rock. It just feels like they go quite full on in that place.
Oh man, look, I love the Dev, absolutely love it. But the amount of times I've gone there for like a quiet kind of maybe pre-gig drinks or something like that, and you've got someone clashing around on a drum kit in the background while they sound check.
Quiet pre-gig drinks. You don't go to the Dev for quiet pre-gig drinks because if there's not a band playing, they got heavy metal playing on the stereo.
Well, when I say quiet, I mean if I'm going to the ballroom or something like that, and I think I'll get a few pints in at the Dev. It's a very cool pub for anyone listening that ever comes to Camden for a drink. Go to the Dev. The Devonshire Arms, it's as a metalhead, it's a pub I'm particularly proud of because it's representing the scene. It's a great place to go. But they don't half sound check a lot. I'll say that much.
I'm glad not.
Let's start with the Sunday section.
Have you ever actually sucked an egg? That phrase teach you to suck eggs. What the fuck is that all about? I've never sucked an egg in my life.
Have you ever been taught how to do it though?
That's true.
Because if you haven't been taught how to do it, why would you?
That's probably why I haven't done it. Yeah. But anyway, just I just think it's an odd phrase. Right, Friday headliner then. Masters of Reality.
Yes. Now, Masters of Reality. That's a band I have wanted to see for a long time. I had a copy of their Blue Garden album like way back. I probably picked it up in like, I don't know, I'm going to say 92, 93. And for a long time, it was just a repeat listen. I just got so deeply into that record. And then to be fair, kind of dipped in and out of stuff they've done over the years and didn't realize how much I wanted to see them until they were announced as a headliner. And I was like, holy shit, man, fuck, the Master of Reality. Right. Okay. I'm all over that. And it felt special. It was like a classy set. It was like quite subdued, I would say. And obviously Chris Goss did the set sitting down. And he talked about he had an injury or he'd hurt his leg at a previous gig. So they got him a chair and he did the whole gig, from the center of the stage sitting on this chair. But I felt like that gave it some gravitas. There was something about this band that had been playing for decades. Great music, great songs. Chris Goss has been involved in the production of a lot of albums that are in people's record collections, least of all Queens of the Stone Age, all their early output, heavy influence on that. So to hear these songs performed in that way, it just felt like classy. That's the word that just kept running through my head for their performance.
That's the word we took away from it walking out, wasn't it? It felt it just felt like they were a level above everything else on the day. That pedigree that they've got. And I'm I am a recent sort of convert to them. I've never really paid a great deal of attention to them, and it took a few goes, but they're one of those bands that once it clicked and it all made sense, I thought, yeah, very, very cool. And I've thoroughly enjoyed them. Really, really enjoyed them.
Where would you recommend somebody who's never listened to them to start with the Eponymous album or something more recent?
I would say the Blue Garden. That's because that's the album that clicked for me more so than any of the others.
Yeah, but also the follow up, Sunrise on the Suffer Bus. Is it Sunshine on the Suffer Bus? Sunrise on the Suffer Bus.
Sunrise on the Suffer Bus.
Yeah. Now, worth mentioning that album because it features Ginger Baker on drums, like the Ginger Baker from Cream. And actually, Cream is a really good reference point. They kind of do that psychedelic blues that Cream did back in the day really well. So it's no surprise to me that they would get Ginger Baker in to play drums on the album. I don't know how that came about. I don't think he was like a member of the band. They just got him in as like a I was about to use the word session player, but fucking hell, Ginger Baker's not a session player. Fucking hell, Ginger Baker's Ginger Baker, an absolute fucking legend. Um, so he plays on that album, and it's as groovy as hell. So the first two albums, I would say, listen to those two, then go from there.
Just drafting in Ginger Baker as you do. Oh, we need a drummer. Who's available? Ginger Baker's available.
I mean, who gets Ginger Baker? Fucking hell. Have you seen that film, Beware of Mr. Baker?
No.
It's incredible. So there is a documentary out there about Ginger Baker, kind of in the latter years of his life. He's a cantankerous old fucking curmudgeon, and it's brilliant.
I can see that. I can see that. I mean, about 18 months, 2 years ago, I picked up the first Baker Gurvitz Army record for about $5.
I remember you posting about that at the time.
In Tunbridge Wells, and I was like, I just, when I looked at it, oh, it's Ginger Baker. I've never heard of this before. Bought it. It was a $5. Got it home, and it is fucking brilliant. It's absolutely bonkers. I found the second one as well for not much more money, and it's so not up my street, but it's just absolutely ludicrous, and it's great fun, and it is Ginger Baker just going full Ginger Baker, and it's fucking brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Love it. So yeah, Mike, what did you think of the Masters of Reality?
I don't remember, to be fair.
Yes.
Like when you mentioned the headline is Masters of Reality, I was like, because I take a video of every band I see, right? Because I have a very poor memory, and I make a little compilation into every year, right? I didn't take a video of Masters of Reality, so I couldn't remind myself what it looked like. And I was racking my brains trying to think, like, what was going on stage. It wasn't until Ben you said that he was sitting down. I was like, oh yeah, now I remember them. So that's why I asked about the album. I don't actually remember what they were.
Yeah, I think it was like, I mean, dive into the albums because they are excellent. One thing I will say is, a lot of what they played, I think I was kind of in too much in awe. I didn't actually pay attention to kind of what songs were passing through. I just remember thinking, I'm enjoying all of this, and I'm just in awe of kind of everything, like the atmosphere, the sound. It was great, and there was a tinge of sort of sadness or melancholy at the end because Chris Goss got up to leave, and we're anticipating an encore, but he looked like he was struggling to leave the stage. He talked about this leg, but I just remember being really struck by the kind of fragility. He looked old. He looked older than I expected him to look on the stage, and I remember thinking that just that adding to how special it felt for me, because I was like, do you know what? I don't know if this is going to be a band that carries on touring. Who knows? At the end of the day, he's a road warrior as well. So, maybe he'll do a Lemmy and just keep going until he doesn't keep going anymore.
They made the ballroom feel like a jazz club.
Nice.
Yeah.
I do. I remember enjoying it. I just don't remember much about the actual set. Which can equally be said for Broom.
I was going to say, yeah. Do you remember? I mean, I only caught the first sort of couple of songs of Broom and had to fuck off and catch a train. But
they were pretty Sabbathy, actually.
They're very heavy.
Yeah, really heavy, like quite a slow pace with a female singer. Oh, I think at least it was.
Yeah, Broom are one of the bands I was looking forward to seeing the most, and I remember the least.
Yeah, it was good though. The other thing about the Black Heart is it's really loud in there. Like,
yeah,
you really need your earplugs in the Black Heart.
Yeah,
I mean, like the PAs are like at this level, right?
Yeah,
they're like just above your head. So yeah, it was good. I did enjoy Broom, and I know I enjoyed Broom because I took a video of it and listened to it before I came.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that's like a badge of honor for Broom. Then at that time of night, you still managed to remember them and catch a video. So kudos to them. Right, so fucking Saturday morning, stinking hangovers and all that, all in. sort of drag yourself out of bed and whatnot. And first band we saw in the underworld, Mike, you and I can't remember whether you were there or not. Cal L, is that what they were called?
Yeah, Kal-El.
Yeah.
Which isn't that Superman's real name?
It is. It was. Yeah.
Kal-El.
It's like a family name, or yeah.
He looked like a fat Fred Durst.
He did look a bit Fred Durst, didn't he?
Fred Durst is fat, but like if Fred Durst from the '90s was fat, that's what the guy looked like. But they were pretty good. I enjoyed the look and I enjoyed the sound. It was meaty and slow, and it was good. It was good first band on a Saturday with a little bit of a hangover.
Swagger, I've got in my notes, so they had a bit of swagger.
A nice Desertfest breakfast of a band.
Yeah, the bassist looked like he dropped out of a beard oil commercial though. He had perfect beard.
Drop out of a beard oil commercial.
I think that's probably not the right way of putting it.
Was this the closest Desertfest ever came to a Timotei ad?
Most people at Desertfest bald.
Right.
Bald
that was them.
shirt.
So right. on the Saturday, for anyone who doesn't know, so the Friday and the Sunday, it was all around Camden Station. So the ballroom, the Dev, all of those.
So convenient. Just so convenient.
Yeah, it is, and it made you realise how convenient that is on the Saturday when you had to walk all the way up to the fucking roundhouse up at Chalk Farm.
All the way. It's not. It's only about 10-minute walk.
Yeah, but that's 10 minutes. It's
10 minutes. It's 10 minutes of chit chat.
10 minutes in London talk is like climbing fucking Everest, isn't it?
Fucking hell. There are people that go to download every year right now that are listening to this thinking 10 minutes, the fucking luxury.
10 minutes?
The fucking luxury.
Yeah.
But
it's true, actually. I remember last time I went to download, it took me like 55 minutes to get from the door of my tent to the arena entrance. Right?
If your tent had a door, it wasn't a tent.
Well, you know what I mean. Tent flap, tent hole.
Oh, flap tent hole.
Stick that
penetration.
It was too far, but
listen, I don't mind the walk at all. But security, there are other problems with the Roundhouse.
Well, we will get to that. We will definitely get to that.
We'll get to it when we get to Acid King.
We'll start off with Pest Control because we were all there for that, and
oh god, that was good.
And they were fucking on it.
Yeah, and they should have played the ballroom because it wasn't very full up. So I didn't feel like as a band they got the value or the turnout they probably did, but it was too big in there. They should have been playing the ballroom because it would have been absolutely rammed.
Yeah,
and the feeling would have been off the hook. I mean, it was amazing as it was, and the sound was great.
It was, yeah. One of the guitars was a bit low in the mix. To be fair, they're normally, as a band, they're normally a lot more in your face. But in general, compared to the rest of the day, which we'll talk about, they did sound good, and they just get better every fucking time we see them. That band,
yeah, a lot of energy actually. Like a lot of leaping around. She was great. Like owned that stage without really saying very much as a front person, right? About like standing up front and going, "Hey, give me a shout," whatever that. Just her mannerisms.
She's not the biggest banter deliverer type.
No, but I think that suits that band, right?
Yeah.
I think it's just all the energy comes from the way she just throws herself into those performances, and they all do. It's like just the ferocity of the music. Like we've seen Pest Control just go up and up and up and up, as you say. Every time we've seen them, they've been better and better, more confident. The tunes just still absolutely slam. They all hit home.
When you see the two bands on the same day, you can see how much suicidal tendencies there is in Pest Control's music. Kind of hear it. It's the influence is just
undoubtedly. First time I saw Pest Control was at the New Cross Inn, and they covered suicidal tendencies. So it was. I had that in the back of my hand.
When was that?
Was that supporting Eternal Champion?
Yeah. So I went to see Eternal Champion, which is it's a bit of an odd pairing. You wouldn't necessarily put those two bands together, but anyway, in their wisdom, the New Cross Inn did. I mean, I'm going to say this was about. I'm going to say 4 years ago, but whenever I use the term 4 years, I think of COVID, which kind of distorts everything. So
it was just post-COVID, I think.
Was it? Yeah. may well have been. Anyway, a few years ago. Great
But
night.
to go from supporting at New Cross Inn to first band on Roundhouse stage.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And
that's good. Yeah.
I mean, they were great then. They were fresh. The album wasn't out. They had an EP
couple of EPs,
out.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm kind of like on the way home, I'm on Bandcamp, just kind of downloading everything I can find that Pest Control put out at that point. And I think they're still destined for big things. I don't think they've got better and better and better, and I still don't think they've reached their potential. I can see them doing really well in the States. I think if they get the opportunity to go out there, and I'm racking my brains, have they done that already? I'm not sure.
I don't think they have yet. No,
no I don't. But get them on a tour out there somewhere, and I think they'll clean up. I've got a really good feeling about Pest Control.
They need the right sort of support slot, don't they? Out there, like a good crossover bill. Even with someone like Suicidals or like the in inverted commas the reformed Power Trip, whatever is going on with that, they would get hold of something like a band like that. The world's their oyster, really. Fair play to them; they're fucking great, absolutely fucking great.
Yeah, you said they were ferocious. Is it ferocious or aggressive? I think ferocious was you used.
Ferocious, yeah.
But equally, they were controlled. There was a lot of talent there as well. It wasn't just twanging away on guitars and smashing frets. It was tight.
Right. Well, exactly. And it's an analogy that I've used on here before. Like you think of like a boxer in their prime, and it's just like all that aggression, but it's controlled.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're delivering those punches, but they know exactly what they're doing. It's not like going to see, I don't know, Iron Monkey or something like that, where it's kind of ferocious, but it's you just think of a gorilla just throwing his arms around and hoping for the best. This is like laser sharp. There's precision there.
Right, let's get on to the issues with the Roundhouse then, because Bean and I fucked off. We went to have a chat with Horndale. If you haven't listened to that episode yet, give it a listen, because they're great guys and they got such wicked stories. So you stayed there to watch Acid King.
Yes.
So tell us about that fucking debacle.
Well, they came on stage and they set up their devices and their amps and their other bits and pieces, and they had a very nice backdrop which said Acid King with some planets. I enjoyed it. I was getting ready for it. I enjoyed listening to them before. And house lights went down and the bass came on. It was really low, really loud, rumbling. I was like, man, this is a cool intro. I like this. This is making me need a poo. It's so low, deep, and bassy. And it just continued. Yeah, it just continued. And then the guitarist, she came on and she began playing and then singing. And I was like, God, that bass this is terrible. I can't listen to this. And I knew it wasn't Acid King because I'd had to listen to him on the album. I can't listen to this. And so I nipped to the bathroom to have one of my 600 wheeze of the day. And when I came back out, I thought I'd just go and give him another listen. And I walked back in and all the house lights were on and the stage was clear. And I said to the guy next to me, I said, what? Where did they go? And he said, I don't know. I went for a wee too. And when I came back, they were gone. And then we were standing there shooting shit for a few seconds. And then come over the PA. Acid King will be back at 5:30 due to some technical difficulties.
Right.
And I was thinking to myself, like, you got one job, Roundhouse. It's not like you're a cinema as well, right? You're a music venue. Sometimes they do theatre and stage shows, but you're a music venue. You shouldn't have technical difficulties. It shouldn't be hard. I know it's a big, complex setup. There's lots of speakers and it's round and blah, blah, blah. But honestly, not to the point where the band walks off because the sound is so bad.
That's fucking embarrassing.
Bit of a weird
one.
And
then I looked at the I've lost Saturday's sheet, but like 5:30 was the gap between two other bands. So we didn't go back after that. We saw other bands. So I don't know whether they did actually play, because I remember chatting to the bassist in the toilet at the Black Heart, and he said they did manage to squeeze in a few songs. But I don't know how that went down, or what happened afterwards. So yeah, it was terrible. I've like Pest Control sounded great, Acid King sounded bad, and then we'll get to Suicidal Tendencies in a bit, I'm sure. But
it's just
I've had more, like vastly more bad experiences at the Roundhouse due to the sound being terrible than I have anywhere else.
Yeah, so I've only been there once before, and that was to see Europe, and they sounded great. No issues with it whatsoever. But it's just not this day and age with all the technology that's available and all, it's not fucking acceptable for sound to be shit.
Acceptable. The only
might take a
worst
little bit
sound
of warming up maybe to get it right or get that, but
yeah. But you love sound check, right? That was sound check. The only sound that's been worse in my life is what's that venue at King's Cross? It used to be an old swimming pool. The Scala, yeah.
Scala, yeah.
Oh mate,
sigh.
I saw Mastodon there a few years ago, and I guess with Lee, and we moved around trying to find a place that didn't sound shit, and there wasn't anywhere. It's like don't turn the swimming pool into a music venue. It's just the acoustics
of all the buildings that you might consider swimming pool.
But we were at the time I smoked roll up cigarettes, and the sound was so loud and so trebly that I chewed up cigarette papers, stuffed them in my ears because I thought my ears were going to start bleeding. Roundhouse isn't that bad, but it's still not great. And
we saw Nathrak and Sai at Scala, didn't we?
Yes, which was a great gig. And I was just to go back to the Roundhouse. I wonder if it was because generally speaking, like the bands that played there had a usable sound. It's fine. It's always a bit funny at the Roundhouse. So I just wonder if maybe Acid King, their equipment had, there was an issue with their stuff. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe people out there have talked about it and it's kind of out there somewhere. But yeah, bit of an odd one.
Yeah,
and it's a shame. They were one of the bands I wanted to see. I know we had, we went off to speak to Horndale, so I couldn't actually at the end of the day. But I think they're a well-regarded band. So to kind of come out on the stage, all guns blazing in inverted commas, and then just to sort of fall flat on your face, it's not great, is it? But there you go. That's rock and roll.
It is.
Happens, doesn't it?
But from there, we caught the last sort of 15, 20 minutes of Sonata. I think that's how you pronounce it. Sonata. Whatever they are.
Was that before or after Domcraft?
They were on before Domcraft. Sort of like vocally sounded a bit Alice in Chains, and it was a bit proggy, very, very heavy.
Where was that?
It was in the Underworld.
Okay.
And yes, I think you were still relatively sober by this point as well, so you should have been fine. Yeah.
I don't have a video of it, so
I enjoyed them anyway. I don't know if he remembers them either, but I thought they were really cool.
With laser-like clarity, I remember them. If
lasers had memories.
If anyone could see me right now, I'm pulling my lying face.
Yeah, all right, bit of that. Right. So Domcraft then. We stayed in there and watched Domcraft, didn't we? You must remember them.
They were good. They were a bit Sabbathy as well.
Sense of thing,
yeah.
I mean, that could be the tagline on the bottom of the Desertfest poster, couldn't it? A bit Sabbathy.
A bit Sabbathy, yeah. Some of it. I don't remember a great deal about Domcraft, but I do remember them being good, but I can't remember why. If that makes sense. And I was still sober, so. But after that though was Monkey 3, which I was like, fucking prog, it's all this fucking. Lee would love this, fucking all that shit. But you know what? I thought they were fucking great. We didn't watch all of them, but what I did watch, they were brilliant. Really good.
I watched all of them because they were just amazing. Like they just sounded so good in the Underworld.
They did sound really good.
Yeah. And I'd say I'd go as far as saying they were the best sounding band that I saw the entire weekend.
Yep. And with Hunter S. Thompson on bass.
Yes.
And there was no vocal mic, there's no mics at all, so they didn't do any chit chat or anything like that. Like the guitarist kept coming to front of the stage, like pointing his guitar or waving, that kind of stuff. But there was they filled the time with music.
Yeah, for them to achieve that, because instrumental music can fall quite flat if it doesn't work. And I was surprised how instantly I enjoyed them, because on record we had the most recent album as an advanced copy, and I listened to it quite a lot, and I couldn't penetrate it. But live they came to life completely.
Yeah, I thought they sounded different live than the album. I thought they were slightly scrappier and a bit more rocky live, because you listen to the albums and they're a bit Pink Floydy, right? And you're like, oh, yeah, they like Pink Floyd.
Yeah, a little bit.
But live, that didn't really come across. I don't think I didn't like. I was expecting to go and see Pink Floyd because I love Pink Floyd. I was expecting to see a Pink Floydy kind of band, and they weren't, but they were better. It was just
They carried more weight. It just sounded really thick and full, and all the things you want really from a Desertfest set.
Yeah.
They reminded me of, now they don't really sound the same, but I had a similar experience watching WoFat a few years Desertfest a few years ago, and in the same way, they just come on. It just sounds sublime. Whatever they're doing on stage and whatever they've got working for them is working for them, because it was just incredible, rich, like a really rich sound.
You pulled a really weird kind of like excited little face then when you said that.
I felt excited. It's like the memory of listening to like heavy music. Just sometimes it just takes me to a place.
Well, talking of taking you to a place, then it was Horndale.
Woody Grill. This is when we talk about Woody Grill.
Actually, we haven't mentioned Woody Grill, have we? Because you two were raving about this place, and I was like,
it's Woody Grill's gone. It's now Woody's Camden.
Whatever it's called now. Yeah, but
had to change the name for some reason.
Great kebab. Superb kebab.
I think
superb kebab.
Lovely people. They have been feeding gig goers in Camden for years and years and years and years. And I can't remember the last gig I went to where I didn't at least consider a Woody Grill, even if I didn't indulge. Mike and I have had a sit down meal in Woody Grill.
Oh, how romantic!
Oh man, they're a beast. They get rice, that school rice that looks like little maggots. It comes with that. Like it's like 6 different types of meats, all the salads. And I think if you go takeaway, you have to get a wrap, because otherwise you get 2 separate boxes. Yeah. And like I said, there's nowhere to sit at Desertfest or in Camden, right?
You don't want to be sitting in the street in Camden either.
No, and so it's like, unless you get a wrap, if you get the boxes, like mixed grill in a box or something, like it's much, much harder to eat. It's a whole load of faff. So always
good. Yeah, I went with the wrap, and it was very
in
good.
Terms of like food efficiency, as this, get your order right. You don't want to be bogged down with. I think I ordered something because you guys were done and dusted, and I'm sat there thinking, all right, okay, and I've got all these little boxes of food, a separate one of rice, there's a salad, there's some bread in there that I didn't expect to have. A whole.
The only thing you have to watch out for with the wraps is if they leak out the bottom, drip on your shoes.
I can't have that.
Oh, now listen, yeah. So it's a story. So Mike remembers this from Desertfest 2023, and I'm sat there chatting at Woody Grill. So we've both got a wrap, and I'm munching on this thing, and then some friends came over, and we're having a chat, and Mike's kind of giggling because the juice and the sauce and everything that's contained in my Woody Grill wrap is dripping onto my shoes. And I walked around. I'm surprised. So I'm walking around Desertfest with these kind of stained shoes. I'm surprised I didn't have like dogs following me around Camden, because
a nice way to talk about tourists.
But
the place to avoid in Camden is was it Falafel King or Falafel World? Like was it last year? I had a real hankering for a falafel. I was like, oh yeah, we'll go in there. So went in there, got a falafel, came back out and was standing eating it. We were just looking back through the door and you could see through into the back bit, and there was a guy, he was making pizzas. So he had the pizza dough spread out on the thing, and then he was putting the tomato sauce on top of the pizza dough with his hand, his ungloved hand. He was just putting it into this big bucket of tomato sauce and then like smearing it on top of the pizza. And we just looked at each other like, fuck, what is
I don't know. See, I don't know if that's
use a spoon, or at least put a glove on. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was
really weird.
It was manhandling people's food, fingering the pizzas.
Oh, hello.
I mean, the thing is he'd already like stretched out the dough with his hands, right? Which is an acceptable use for your hands of pizza. But it was just the whole idea was like scooping tomato sauce out of this bucket onto the pizza with his hands. That was just a step too far. I don't know.
Listen, it's Camden.
Not acceptable.
Food choices are always going to be slightly cockroach infested and less than savoury. But
except for Woody's.
Yeah, except for Woody's, which is a.
And the Camden Eye, we had a good roast last year.
Yeah, and I did shout out the Camden Eye when we did the pre-Desertfest episode, because we didn't go in for it this year, but Sunday roast at the Camden Eye is worth it. Pint of Guinness for breakfast. Anyway, back to this year.
That was food, and that was Horndale as well in the Dev, which we were really looking forward to. And like I said, we had just had a really good chat with them, really cool guys. So to see them, nice and up close in a pub, I thought was really fucking cool. And straight away, again, they sounded great. The sound in there was superb all weekend. One of my highlights of the weekend, they were fucking brilliant. Those songs off of Head Hammer Man, they open with Call in Labour, and that 70s riff that goes all the way through that song is just instantly hits you, mate. It's just such a hook. They were really fucking good. And I think they got a real buzz out of it. When they walked off stage, they were on a high. They went down really well. The Dev was packed by the time they were sort of halfway through their set. And I think that's a really good sign. I think we'll be seeing them back here again pretty soon.
What do they what do they sing about? They sing about
Horndal,
which is a place in
it's about an hour outside of Stockholm in Sweden. It's where they're from.
And they're singing about Amazon or Google or something.
Well, they've done that. So, that was the previous album. So the new album is about a trade unionist, from their hometown who was exiled, I think, out to America. So it's the whole story of the, like, really not your average kind of metalhead concept album, right? So, they really driven by
Ulrik Anderson was his name.
That's it. Yeah. This is a band that are just telling stories about the place they came from. It's folk music if you want to think about it at that time, because it's rooted in their history, their heritage, the heritage of the town that they grew up in, that where they're from, and just shining a spotlight on what's occurred there. So the album prior to this, and no spoilers, but obviously we've done the interview episode as well, which you can go back and listen to, but they talk about how Google have moved in and decimated the town by buying up all the land and just kind of turning it into cooling units for their servers and stuff like that.
The lake in the town, it cools their server units, doesn't it? Basically?
Yeah, which is, it's crazy. All this stuff that goes on, which I guess you don't think about until it happens in your town.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that it happened in the town of Horndal. And you've got this metal band that are like, we're going to tell the world these stories and kick ass while we're doing it, because fuck me. Head Hammer Man is a fantastic album. And they completely brought it to the stage at the Dev as well. Is it going back to something that we said at the beginning of this episode, or towards the beginning, if you can't bring it on stage, then what's the point? Well, Horndal are a band that are bringing it on record, and they're bringing it on stage, and I would urge anyone to catch them live if they can.
Yeah, 100%. I thought they engaged really well, even though the singer was like hood up one knee and it looked all a bit kind of disheveled and grumpy kind of thing. But it reminded me of when I saw Mastodon for the first time back in 2003.
Right.
They're not a million miles away sound wise from Mastodon. They got that similar kind of crunch, and certainly the earlier Mastodon sound. But I got a same sort of feeling about them, and I think this album's been quite well received by a lot of people, and I think their appearance at Desertfest, they'll do well out of it. And I hope they're back here again and we get a full kind of headline set, and we're getting back on the podcast again as well. Very, very cool band.
Yeah,
really, really cool. Really enjoyed them. I hope to see them again very, very soon. You weren't there, was you, Mike? Where did you go?
When?
Mike was watching Monkey 3, so Mike.
Oh, he's still watching Monkey 3. Yeah,
he was like our correspondent in the underworld, like checking out Monkey 3, and then we branched off. Because we talked about Horndal, so we were never going to miss that set. So we kind of headed off there, and then
I saw the end of Horndal.
Okay, well, there you go. Yeah, but
and I thought they were good.
Go listen to Head Hammer Man, because it's a fucking fantastic album. And when you get to that song Call in Labour, if that hook doesn't pull you in, I'll be very, very surprised. Shout out to our mate Nige, who did exactly the same thing. Listened to the album for the first time a couple of days ago, and when that song hit him, he just kept listening over and over and over again. So that's the sort of band they are. So good luck to them. I hope they do well. Right, fucking Suicidal next.
Good Lord.
All the way back up to the ballroom. All that fucking way. Fuck.
Are we nearly there yet?
Yeah, Jesus Christ. And security guard tampered with my nipples, which I felt a little bit violated by, but there you go.
Excuse me?
I know, yeah. Well, he sort of tickled the pockets on my my denim jacket, and he goes, "What's that?" And it's my nipples. And he kind of didn't know what to say to that, and sort of just waved me on through. So
have you just got really weird large nipples, or are they pierced?
Well, neither or really. I think they're pretty small. in comparison.
So there's no, you haven't got a bar or anything. He was literally just fondling your nipples.
I mean, I think I had my house key in one of the pockets, but
he noticed your nipple protrusion through your denim jacket.
Well, it's just the way he went. What's that? What the fuck do you think it is? It's my nipple.
You should have looked him square in the eye and said, "You know full well what that is."
Yeah. You probably shouldn't have frisked my buttocks.
Did you go round for another go? That's
backwards. But anyway, yeah.
What, you got nipples on your back as well?
Yeah, I got 8 of them all the way down. So if you're ever hungry, you know where to come.
Should we be joking about inappropriate touching? I don't know, but we just did. So let's go. Let's move swiftly through security. And
8 pairs of nipples aside. Yeah, the small matter of suicidal tendencies. Now, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I've been waiting a long, long time to see suicidal, and there's been many things that have happened in the past that have stopped me seeing them, and it's always been massively frustrating. And up until the point they came on stage on Saturday, I was still thinking they're not going to fucking turn up because that's what happens. But thankfully, they did. And despite an iffy sound, not terrible, but iffy, they were fucking fantastic. And Mike Muir is just a machine.
Yep.
Absolute madman. I don't even seen a front man like him, to be honest, but
I adored that set. I thought it was fantastic. I adored the performance. I'm going to say it again. Rob Trujillo. I can't do it now. I've had a couple of glasses of wine. But Trujillo Jr. on bass, absolutely killing it. Yep. Great band. Jay Weinberg on drums. Resurfacing post Slipknot. Great band. The crowd response was phenomenal. Just a joy to see. Just a joy to see a metal crowd doing metal. And, you had pits erupting here, there, and everywhere. You had walls of death breaking out. You had circle pits. And, playing kind of ringmaster to it all, you've got Mike Muir, whose stage banter was kind of coming from all angles. I don't know what he was talking about sometimes, It was madness.
Do you remember the conversation we had about the height of his bandana over his eyes? Do you remember that? We were trying to, I think it was afterwards. After we left, we were talking about how when he was younger, it was much further down over his eyes. And now he's become an older man. It's a bit further up his head now. It's just above his eyebrows. So
it's like his own version of a hairline, basically. Isn't
it? Mike Muir's got a receding bandana. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I think you talk about the band though, the lineup. I mean, Ben Wyman in the band as well, who's also nuts on stage. Always was with Dillinger. The photo that you got of him jumping off the amp was just a moment in time. It's fucking absolutely superb. That was, but that
he was. I don't think I've ever seen a guitarist. I mean, was he in Dillinger Escape Plan?
He was, yeah.
I mean, I've seen Dillinger Escape Plan, and I don't remember him being that crazy in Dillinger Escape Plan. He was all over the place.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure he was bleeding from his head at one point.
There was something going on, but that jump. So standing on top of the amps, I can't remember what track it was, and just seeing him jump. I mean, that is the highest I've ever seen a musician jump from, and land on the stage. Didn't miss a note. Carried on playing. I mean, that must have been. I don't know how high was he, 8 foot up there.
Well, he was standing on the bass cab as well, wasn't he? Which is obviously tall. So
which was also on the drum riser.
So okay. And you had somebody come up behind and hold, health and safety, got to get it right. Hold on to the bass cab to make sure it doesn't fall over. And it was
I think he was holding on to the head actually, because if that had fallen off, then it would have been game over.
Maybe he was feeling his nipples.
But yeah, he was so animated.
That is showmanship.
Yeah, proper fucking showmanship. And I think Jay Weinberg fits really well in that band as well. Really well.
Yeah, they sounded great. They were fucking on fire. Yeah. Just a beautiful, beautiful set that was. Loved it.
War Inside My Head, I think, was probably a highlight sound-wise. That song really cut through the sound. That crunch was coming through a lot better. Yeah. They played How Will I Laugh Tomorrow, which is my favourite suicidal song. One of my favourite all-time songs. That was a moment for me. Fucking awesome. But I think the set was cut short. I don't know if it was down to the delays earlier, but there was no Institutionalized on the end of their set, and they always play that song. You look at their set list, and that's always on the end of the set. So I think that was cut short.
Yeah, but listen, what did you get instead of Institutionalized?
When you're standing there on the floor finishing your drink and everyone's fucked off and you just look over to your left and you go, Bean, it's Mike Muir standing 10 feet to our left. And it's just like, what the fuck?
He can't have gone backstage. I think he literally must have finished the set, climbed down, and just walked amongst the walked amongst the people.
Yeah. Just literally loitering around, chatting with people, casual conversations. I've never seen a singer from a band, that kind of level, playing that size of venue, ever do that before. You get it in smaller places, your Black Hearts and things like that. Yeah, but at that level and that stature, never seen that before.
And he wasn't mobbed either. There was only a handful of people. Like the group he was with first, and then us, right? So
us losers. Oh my!
Yeah, you fangirled all over him, honestly.
It was almost a Wayne's World, we're not worthy moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
well, to be fair, we're not worthy, and
absolutely not. We're scum.
It was a real treat, one of the highlights, just to get to shake hands with someone that you really admire and just say thank you.
Yeah,
it's a great thing.
Yeah, it really was. It was a nice kind of. It almost made Sunday feel like a little bit of an anticlimax to a certain extent, but it was a really fucking cool moment and one of my sort of favorite festival moments. Really, it was special. It was really cool. So I went home with a big smile on my face and a headache by that point as well. But Sunday morning I had to get up and take my boy to football, which was like fucking. That was hard going. But
I can imagine,
really cool. And he scored his first goal, so it was quite a memorable weekend. That all in all, it was
nice.
It was pretty special. But it also cost me a fortune because I had to deal with him if he scored by the end of the season to buy him a new Xbox. So, right. So that left me best part of 400 quid lighter. But there you go, it was worth it. So Sunday, I caught Goat Major. You two missed them, didn't you?
So this is what I wanted to mention. I was really looking forward to Goat Major. Love what they do. Obviously, we had them on the podcast, had a great chat with them. I think the album is fantastic. So it's one of the sets I was really looking forward to. Couldn't get into the Black Heart. The queue was down the stairs, and it was rammed. So it's going back to the point that was made at the beginning of the episode. The Black Heart was kind of one of the few venues where if you don't get there in time, it does fill up.
Yeah,
and they were the first band of the day, so everyone was going to go and see them.
It was packed. I when I got there, I think I got there about 5 minutes before they started, and I was by the door. It was only as people kind of started to filter out through the set that I kind of got a bit further forward. But from my point of view, again, they sounded phenomenal. The bass sound from that band was one of the filthiest things I've ever heard. And the Black Heart always sounds filthy and grimy anyway, and so it all really cut through. And they were loud. They were really full on. A 3-piece that can make that kind of noise is always a great thing, and a very, very cool band.
I mean, we were downstairs outside the Black Heart, and you could just hear the windows vibrating. It was just this sort of background noise of vibrating glass.
It was just complete and utter filth, which is the way we like it.
Yeah, I went to see Ashenspire.
And what were they like?
They were terrible.
Oh, come on! Wow.
They didn't penetrate.
Which actually, so Ashenspire,
it was just.
This is a band that you were looking forward to seeing because we've talked about Ashenspire like in the last couple of years. I think whatever their last release was, I think got shared amongst us, and it was highlighted as a worthy release. So maybe another example of a band that can deliver a record that hits home, but live, a different experience.
I mean, I gave them a yes on my spreadsheet. Which is why I went to see them, right? But it looked like a pirate crew on stage. The lead singer was in crutches. One crutch. I can't remember how many it was.
Is that prop or did he actually need it?
I don't.
Are you about to criticize him because he's disabled? Is that?
No, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he's disabled, but I mean, he was leaping around. I don't know. It was like an arm extension or something. He was wearing a blouse. It was just there was the saxophonist was all he was wearing was a pair of like small running shorts, and he was barefoot as well. Now, don't get me wrong, right? I'm not, how well they look is entirely irrelevant to the sound of the music, but it was very distracting. But it wasn't like the singer was really, really shouty, but not like a good shouty. It was like a ranting shout, right?
We're just for context, we have to remember this is like the early stages of Sunday when we're all feeling a little bit jaded. So shouting and shouty behavior isn't the best way to start.
Could be true. Yeah,
to start a Sunday. You know,
but
we have to dial in the hangover factor here, and there's that slight
like,
Sunday jadedness.
There's song Park Life, obviously, right? Where that guy talks over the top of it, right?
Yes,
it was like that, except he would be shouting the words.
What, like with a loud hailer.
He was shouting into a microphone. It just didn't seem to fit the song. It was like he was singing something different. I don't know. I'll have to go back and review my video of them, but I didn't have a good time there. I did left early.
Well, that's a glowing fucking recommendation.
Listen, I'm sure that they're great musicians and everyone else. I mean, the sax office was good. I enjoyed him. In fact, I enjoyed the music. I just think maybe it was just the singer I couldn't get with the vocals.
It's funny, isn't it? How sometimes just something that's like just one element of a band just gets under your skin, and it's like that's enough. It's just like, do you know what? Not feeling it.
Yeah. And talking of not feeling it, we went to check out. Mike and I went to check out UFO Mammoth briefly for about half their set, and again, another situation. UFO Mammoth.
Oh yeah, they were the guys whose everything sounded the same, right?
Everything sounded the same. I think it's another one of the situations. If you're not familiar with it, very heavy, quite drony, but I couldn't make head nor tail of it. They went down well. They were clearly popular. A lot of people there to see them. I think they are quite a cult band, as they're one of those that have got that kind of following. But
I think I saw a few minutes of them because I at this stage I think I branched off to go and do some like grudge related activities. And I was looking for you, kind of like walking around the venues trying to find where you were at, and I caught about 5 or 10 minutes of that set, and it was just kind of big monolithic noise.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a bad thing, but I feel like I kind of joined the party a bit too late, and I was like, all right, okay, it's not an easy one just to kind of slip into.
Yeah, it's like getting there after all the penetration is finished, isn't it?
I went to see Noise Picker after Ash Inspire before.
Oh yeah, I actually wanted to see them Noise Picker, but I forgot about them.
Yeah, it was 2-piece. They're pretty good actually. They were another kind of like rock and roll band, but the singer was the drummer. The drummer was singing, and he was doing like.
Excuse me, it's never been done before.
Yeah. It always amazes me when drummers sing, and not because of the traditionally held reason for drummers, but because like drumming and singing must be much harder than playing guitar and singing because you're moving much more of your body. Like it's
not necessarily in the same time either.
Yeah, exactly. If you're doing different time signatures with different limbs, that must be hard.
So
and then drumming is. I feel like drumming is a more physical activity. Like you're going to be a bit more worn out, or a bit more breathless. And so doing long, loud, singy vocals, like I reckon it's much harder as a drummer. But they nailed it. They were really good. It was really enjoyable. The crowd was good. Lots of people jumping up and down.
On record, they sound a bit kind of 90s alternative rock sort of thing. That's kind of what sort of drew me to them. But obviously, I missed them. So,
Yeah, and just to touch on singing drummers, a shout out to Morag Tong who played on the Sunday, which I didn't see, but I've seen them previously over the years. Always a great band, singing drummer, and also Phil Collins.
All hell, Phil Collins.
They were also playing at Dingwalls, which we didn't go to the whole weekend.
We didn't go to Dingwalls.
No.
So internally grateful for that because Dingwalls is another.
Well, let me just touch on that because like 2023, one of the things we walked away thinking was, what the fuck is up with Dingwalls?
Now you're showing your age.
Listen, Dingle is a lovely place in Ireland, but we're not talking about that. Dingwalls, because the beer prices in Dingwalls was astronomical.
More expensive. Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, beer prices in London are astronomical, but Dingwalls.
Well, they are. But one of the if we're going to give a thumbs down to anything, I felt like there is an inconsistency with, like, if you're moving from venue to venue, um, it's likely going to be partaking in a few drinks while you're watching the bands. Okay, that's expected, but there's a real discrepancy in the prices. So depending on what venue you're in whatever time, whatever particular time, you might be paying more. Dingwalls took the biscuit for the most expensive drink in at Desert Fest. So just kind of introduce a standard price, man. That would be a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
That was the Guinness, right? It was like £7.20 for a Guinness, and they also did a full pint pour. There was no Guinness.
Oh
pour.
yes, now I remember you noticing that, and you were
That's,
not happy.
No, that's not cool.
I'm not paying £7.20 for a pint, and then you pour it badly. I mean, I didn't care. I drank it anyway. I was so upset.
I hasten to add, this was last year, so maybe they've turned it around. Maybe
Well, so I wonder whether, what was the beer they had there that you mentioned? The Desert Fest beer. They were
what, this year?
Yeah,
this year. So we were drinking Saint Monday. So I did an IPA at the Black Heart. This was great beer. So
they were doing it. They were doing it all over every venue had it, didn't it?
I don't know. No,
I'm sure most of the venues had that beer on. I think that because it was a Desert Fest beer, and I wonder whether that beer is the same price everywhere, but then the venues charge what they would normally charge for.
It could be the way.
It's possible.
Non-Desert Fest beers. I don't know for sure. I'll have to test it out, but we'll have to wait a year.
We'll find out next year. We because we obviously have to. We've got a service to offer. It's consumer insights in it. We will make sure that we drink beer, the same beer in every single venue, just to be sure. That's the kind of service we offer.
There you go. So let's make that commitment: a pint in every venue, and we'll do a full report. But shout out to Saint Monday. So Saint Monday is a Hackney brewery. So it's an East London brewery. Look, delicious beer. We were drinking it all weekend. Really, really good. So let's have some more of that.
Every beer comes with a free feathery earring.
You'd hope so.
Well, yeah,
I mean, what would you do with them all? I've only got 2 ears.
I'll hang them off all the nipples on my back. Right. So where are we? We caught Cadabra in the underworld.
They were good.
They were really good.
They're another. They definitely reminded me of All Them Witches. Like that kind of like deep south.
Yeah.
Rock.
Yeah. A bit
good,
of
I really enjoyed
going on. They were good. Again, a band I'd never heard before, so really enjoyed them. They had a good crowd as well, healthy crowd in there for them, and they went down really well. So they were cool. After that though, Monolord, another real highlight of the weekend for me, a band I was really looking forward to seeing. And it's just they're a weird one, Monolord, because a lot of the stuff does sound quite similar. It's all very sort of like similar paced. But a bit like Masters of Reality, there's something quite classy about the way they deliver it. And they sounded huge as well. When that first riff kicked in, they sounded massive. And I thought the whole hour, they were absolutely superb. I was going to leave and go and watch Mantar. Was that, well, that may have been the day before. I don't know. There might be something I wanted to see, but I was sort of transfixed on Monolord. I thought they were absolutely superb.
I would agree. For me, one of the sets of the weekend, massive sound. There's something about the vocal delivery on Monolord which just draws me in. It's this kind of yearning, almost like Ozzy Osbourne kind of esque, melancholic yearning that just pulls at the heartstrings, offset with this heavy fucking monolithic music, which is slow and weighty and very desert. Very desert, but there is a hook. That's the thing. And the only other thing I'll say about Monolord's set is the last minute was just sublime.
Yeah.
If the whole set just kind of rolled along at this funeral pace, but very powerful, and then just exploded at the end with guitar solos and kind of all kind of manner of
it was the last leaf they closed on, and it was. There's some bands out there that do that kind of thing really well. That do the whole build up to a big crescendo ending. Cult Loon are one of them, really fucking good at that. But yeah, right. That last minute or so, walked out of there thinking, "Fuck me,
that's how you end the set."
Special, yeah. Really fucking good, really good. Michael, did you enjoy the Mighty Monolords?
I will abstain from answering the question.
Now I see. I remember Mike went off for a protest piss that like for the last couple of minutes, right? Which is frustrating because the last couple of minutes was like one of the greatest climaxes to a set I've ever seen. That sounded a little bit kind of over the top, but it was good.
It was good.
It was good. And so it's interesting because I remember, Mike, you saying, yeah, it wasn't doing it for you. And, it kind of sounded a bit samey. And I wonder, and I think I said this, at the time, the thing about Monolord is, for me, the hook is that vocal, and the sound in the ballroom wasn't great. So if you're not familiar with the material, some of that doesn't necessarily connect. Because I'm watching it, I know the songs, and my brain is filling in the gaps, and I know where those lyrical lines land and stuff like that. So I'm kind of experiencing this, as I said, this kind of yearning vocal over the top. If you don't know it, and if you're not familiar with the stuff, I get it. I
had the same experience with Monolord as a UFO mammoth.
Right.
UFO mammoth. Yeah.
So
if I don't know it, I didn't know it, and it all sounded like one great big long song, which it may well have been if they had a big solo at the end. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to know what counts as a protest piss. Surely, if I was protesting, I'd have just pissed myself. Right?
Well, fair enough. Well, that's what they call a dirty. So it's akin to a good dirty protest, I think, of some sort. But I think it was more a case of like, I'm not watching any more of this. I am going for a piss.
Well, I enjoy it. So I did I'm a sucker for a riff, and there was some big fat riffs, and I did it, and I was enjoying them at first, and then I just found myself like, maybe you've done it, maybe you haven't, but like you're at a gig and you're nodding your head, and then you're thinking about your shopping list and the kebab you had at lunchtime, and you're just nodding along with the beat as opposed to kind of listening, and and you can draw yourself back in. But it happened a couple of times, so I was like,
I think get Empress Rising and fucking whack it up, big volume, and sort of
Emperor's Rising or
Empress Rising. It's quite an early one. It's filthy. It's a much sort of the filthy end of Monolord stuff, and
love it when it's filthy.
Yeah.
And I would just offer Rust as a kind of a side B to that.
Side B to the youth out there. That's records and shit.
That's a reference to the old days when you used to have to turn the record over.
You think it was the old days, wouldn't you? Fucking hell.
And cassettes.
Yeah. Right, the weekend was almost done for me now. Caught Grama Vedetta just quickly in the dev.
I saw Osric
Bluesy Boogie, good fun.
Yeah,
you went to see Tentacles, didn't you? Of course you did.
Yeah, Grama Vedetta were good. I only saw half because I did want to see Grama Vedetta, and I really did enjoy them. But Osric Tentacles were great. I've never seen them before. They didn't it's not really a band that fits Desertfest, but then we've already talked about that Desertfest is kind of expanding and moving into slightly different genres. But they were bloody good. They were really good, like full on prog. Like you could tell from the like lava lamp style backgrounds that had like spaceships and shit, houses flying around.
Yeah, I mean they were there back in the day, when tie-dye was genuinely in fashion. When tie-dye was unironically in fashion, okay, Osric Tentacles were there.
I think they were the only band of the weekend to have a flautist as well. Did I pronounce that right? Flautist. Somebody what plays the flute.
Yes, yeah, you pronounced it better than I pronounced the bass player from Metallica's name.
Rob
I'm too many glasses of red wine in to even attempt.
I've noticed. I've noticed.
I would have come to see Osric Tentacles out of curiosity, but I had sat down outside the Black Heart. We got a bench for the first time for the weekend, and that was it. I was done. I was comfortable. That's where I stayed until
they were good. Yeah, it was like I'd love to have like seen them back in the day in like some canvas tent in the middle of a muddy field, right? Like where they started.
You can imagine they'd probably like share the bill with Hawkwind or something like that. Like when Lemmy was still in Hawkwind, you'd go and see them and Osric Tentacles. I don't know, maybe not. Osric's are more of a kind of late 80s, 90s thing, maybe. I don't know.
I don't think they go back as far as that, do they? But either way, it's legendary band. So happy days. Grammar Vendetta, we did catch them, didn't we?
Yeah, they were good. You mentioned Dirty Blues.
Yeah, Bluesy Boogie, I think was what I kind of got from them, and that was them, and then it was his mob,
and then that was the end of the weekend. Goodbye.
Hey, done. Go home.
No more to see. Swift downhill turn from there.
Well,
no, it didn't.
I wouldn't say that. What it did was ruin my fucking hearing. So thanks for that. But
yes.
Well, we can't allow you to be involved in this. Obviously, you're on the inside, but the Grudge were the end of the weekend for me. And
yes, apparently
at Mike at this point, I think it was the end of the weekend for you and all, but
it was the end of the weekend. Well, no, it wasn't.
No, because
you two carried on, didn't you?
We went into the night. We
let's talk about the Grudge first, and then we'll talk about the last.
Well, I'm going to abstain from any Grudge conversation because
they were fucking shit. It was just noise. It was just fucking drummer was out.
They were great. So they opened with a new song.
Yeah, thank you.
A new song called Hail Mary, which was very good. Apparently, it was written by the drummer. Which surprises me because it was
neither confirmed
nor
denied that rumor.
Wolfman was on fire. He was on fire. Didn't fall over this time, which is good, but he was on fire. Can I
just chip in and give kudos to Wolfman because he was getting over the most horrendous cold. Yeah. He had the man flu. Like we got a text message, phone call, couple of. Well, actually, look,
it was on the morning, I think, wasn't it?
On the morning. So Desertfest, he was due to come. So he was going to be there for the whole weekend. So Friday morning, we got the call out. We got the from Wolfman,
the wolf howl,
the wolf signal,
and he said, "I can't do it. I am absolutely fucking like knocked over with the flu."
So he said he was recovering, but because of the gig on the Sunday, he didn't want to come and fuck himself up.
Right. So he
that's commitment.
So commitment. He took the sensible option. And sat out. So he was missed. So shout out to Wolfman because
Keith was pleased
because we missed you.
Of course,
kudos.
No, can we finish reviewing the band now?
Well, I was just going to give him credit for playing the gig, knowing that he was compromised.
He has a potential he could soil himself. That was the thing.
Oh, I'm sure that was going through his mind.
That was great. So Kieran Wolfman ripped it up. I love his playing. It's good.
Yeah.
Lead doobie dude and slapped. That was great in the sound check when most people sound check, they go check 1 2 1 2. Lee goes doobie doo doo, which I recorded it. It's now my ringtone for him, which is fun. Davey was just Davey. Like he oozes like guitarist charisma, which is good. And then Keith was Keith. He was wearing a t-shirt that said beer on it, which was ironic.
No, we won't talk about that.
And then the drummer, I couldn't really see him. He was sitting in the back, but he was fucking loud. He was very loud.
They were all fucking loud. Every time I see you lot, every fucking time I see you lot, my hearing gets completely fucked.
Listen, go loud.
It's a good fuck though.
Go loud, be proud. What's the point otherwise?
If it's too loud, you're too old, and all those other cliches,
Is it heavy metal?
Yeah. And there was also what would they call it? Window crew.
The window crew outside. Yeah.
Yeah, out to the window crew. So one of my highlights. So this is a personal highlight of Desertfest. So for anyone listening that might be wondering what the fuck we're wittering on about, my own band played this year, which was the first for me. So my first performance at Desertfest, which was absolutely fantastic. It was the cherry on the cake of a great weekend. So we played at the Dev, which was full of people. The Dev always is. I've talked about the Dev. It's a great little pub. But outside, so from my view on the stage, I'm looking out, to my left, and there's a window there. And on the street, there's a little crowd that have amassed of people that I don't know if they didn't have a ticket or they couldn't get in. I've got no idea. But there's a little mosh pit happening outside on the street, on the pavement. And I'm thinking to myself, that's great, isn't it? That's just cool.
I don't think any other band had a window crew.
I'm happy with that. I'm happy with window crew. I've got a full room in front of me. I've got a window crew to my left. we're doing the business, and it was great fun.
You're the only band who filled up the venue so much that people had to spilled outside into dancing outside. You're also the only band whose name starts with the word "the," which I thought was unusual given the
You
number of
pointed that
bands.
out on, so yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
that got me to go right. I'm going through the fucking line on that. That can't be right.
that's
But
because
you're right,
it's because of my spreadsheet was ordered alphabetically at one point, so I knew
Yeah.
that for sure.
It's not deliberate. I'll say that much.
Look, you guys always fucking deliver it. So anybody
Yeah.
out there hasn't seen you guys live, you don't play live often enough, but when you do, you fucking deliver it. So absolute kudos. It was great. It was a great ending to the weekend for me. I'd like to have stuck around for Bat Sabbath, but I had a long journey the next day. I had to fuck off. But you two stuck around, didn't you?
Holy
Fuck
shit!
me, that was
Yeah.
amazing.
I haven't had a chance to talk to either of you about it yet, to be fair. So let's
Man,
have it.
I mean,
yeah,
I'm
last
feeling a little bit giddy at the memory of
yeah,
Bats.
I stood there with my mouth open. It's fucking so good.
Do you know
Who
what
did we see? Who did we see at the after party last year who did Black Sabbath?
Oh,
Or was
there
it
was
year
like
before?
I can't remember what they were called, but they were like a Black Sabbath covers band.
Yeah, the guy like dressed like Ozzy, didn't he? And that
Yeah,
was
it,
fun, right?
it,
It was enjoyable as an after party. But Bat Sabbath, fucking hell, they brought it. The amount of energy in that band. Considering they'd done a set earlier in the day, they'd probably had a few tequilas between then and now.
I would say that's
And
likely.
Well, they're
and
a
they
fucking
put
they're a loopy band anyway, aren't they?
yeah,
So
well
yeah, like
they put a
so
beautiful
anyone that
twist on
needs
it.
to know, it's so Cancer Bats, their alter ego is Bat Sabbath, who were the closing band. Yeah, they were the very last band on at
Very
Desert
last
Fest
band, yeah.
2024, and I watched that set and fell in love with Black Sabbath all over again.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's
And
absolutely
I'm
great
a
way to put it.
massive Black Sabbath fan. Like for me, Black Sabbath are the beginning, the middle, and the end. And I watched that set, and there's a great like when you go and see. I've seen a lot of Sabbath covers bands or tribute bands, or all kinds of things like that over the years. And one of the coolest things about that is you get to hear, like they play with the set, so you get to hear deep cuts, or you get to hear, and in Bat Sabbath's case, like they dropped Paranoid in as the second song. Like they came out, didn't I can't remember what they opened with. I'm racking my brains and it's gone. But second song in, boom, Paranoid. Okay, fucking hell. The energy just goes through the roof straight
Yeah,
away.
man.
They open with Into the Void. There you go.
That's it, right.
And
Which
they played
has
Supernaut as well, which I
Supernaut.
was really pleased about. Like I've never heard that
I
live.
tell you what, just before you go on, this what makes me laugh though. You go on Setlist FM, very useful website. You look for Bat Sabbath setlist, and you've got 11 songs on there, all listed, and underneath every single song it says Black Sabbath cover, Black Sabbath cover, Black Sabbath cover.
No
So
shit, Sherlock.
it was fucking great. I mean, it was a Black Sabbath set, a really good Black Sabbath set, tinged with a kind of hardcore energy.
Mm.
And just a reminder, kind of a lot of the stage banter was just a reminder. It's like, this is about the almighty Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
And you realize it's like, that's the center of Desert Fest. All the bands that come and play this festival year after year, really, if you want to distill it down to what it's all about, it's a big celebration of Black Sabbath and the music they brought to the world and the scene that grew up from that.
Pioneers.
It
All
was
about
the
the riff.
perfect, all about the riff. And fuck me, when you listen to a set of Black Sabbath songs and you think, fucking hell, that's a riff. Fucking
Yeah.
hell, that's a riff.
Yeah.
Like song after song. You talk about opening with Into the Void. That song is unique in that it opens with the greatest riff in the world, but then it tops it by the end and it closes with an even better riff than the greatest riff in the world.
That was just a tribute to the greatest riff in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
it was
this is what I'm
great.
talking about. I like just like Mike said, like my jaw was on the floor, and it wasn't just Bat Sabbath and like it wasn't. They gave the greatest performance. It was energized. It was perfect, but it was a reminder that there's these songs.
Yeah.
This Black Sabbath riff after riff after riff after riff. It was incredible.
Yep.
There you go. That pretty much sums it up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'll quickly put you both on the spot then. Who was the band of the weekend?
Ooh, I'm gonna say Suicidal.
Yep. Same for me. Mike?
I'm gonna say I mean, I should say The Grudge, but I'm going to say Monkey 3.
Well, at least somebody's.
But there were so many. There were so many actually, so many great bands. But yeah, Monkey 3 and Bat Sabbath, two bands that actually like sucked me in and penetrated me to the point where I was in in that moment.
It was. I have to say, it was a tough pull, like leaving that Monkey 3 gig to go and see Horndale. Was difficult.
There you go. That says it all, doesn't it? But just before we finish, I would just quickly touch on, because this is, like I said at the top of the episode, this is my first Desert Fest. You guys have been before. I think just a quick shout, just the general vibe of the whole event, I thought was really cool. Of all the festivals and that I've been to over the years, I really like the way it's laid out. I love the fact that it's, multiple indoor venues, and I get to go home to my own bed and have a shower because I'm old, go back the next day feeling refreshed. All of that, I absolutely love that. I think just the general feel of it, the people we spoke to, shout out to anybody we spoke to about the podcast as well. There was 3 people we were speaking to in the alleyway outside the Black Heart.
Some guy recognised you in the Dev as well, actually.
Yeah. So the guy we spoke to in there.
I mean, how he recognised you from a podcast is beyond me, but
it's just that strong.
He went, "Is that? I can hear Steve."
That's not my name. How dare you?
I can hear Joey.
There you go. And met someone from Skegness as well, which is really cool. But look, the general feel of it, absolutely loved it. Great vibe. Can't wait to go again next year. 100% be there without a shadow of a doubt. I think it is one of those weekends, even if I didn't like a load of the bands, I think I'd still go.
Yeah, it is a great weekend. A great vibe. Like, like everyone there is just cool. I think everyone's there for the same reason. They're all there to worship the riff. Like, the only struggle with it being in Camden is Saturday and Sunday. It gets really busy with tourists.
Yeah, Saturday was horrendous.
But other than that, like, I mean, we had one. We had one. I think it was last year where it was a bit rainy and it thinned out a little bit. But I mean, it's only really a problem if you're heading up to the Roundhouse.
Yeah, I just think that's one of just what you described there is one of Desert Fest's strengths. Is you don't have to know the bands, you don't have to, you can go there and just sit in the vibe. It just feels good. Everyone's in a good mood. Like it's not, you go to some places and it feels a bit edgy or I don't know, uncomfortable for whatever reason. Desert Fest, I've always felt this about Desert Fest, it just feels like a real
family. Community.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, without being
say brotherhood, but that kind of excludes the sisterhood. So it's kind of, what's a word that is like brotherhood and sisterhood? Family,
personhood, family,
personhood. Yeah,
it's a collective.
Personhood.
Right? That sounds like a collective.
Bloody hell. Yeah.
What kind of wanker would use that word? Like that.
But it just is it's a great weekend.
Yeah, I highly recommend it to anybody. And like I said, if you're not into the music, I would recommend it. So, yeah, really good fun.
What I'd love to do one year actually is get an Airbnb or something in Camden. Yeah,
that's a good.
So
the luxury.
Bean lives 40 minutes away, something like that. But if you miss the last train, it's an hour on the bus, and it's a travel time, right?
Listen, I live in London, and I'd still dive into that Airbnb.
Yeah, it would be great. It would be amazing to do an Airbnb, because then you could just get up a little bit later. You could go back and have a poo if you need to.
Communal showers, penetration, all of that.
Yeah, no. Airbnb, have you been in for communal showers? I think you've been duped, mate.
Can you not filter that out? You need that, don't you? You got to have a communal shower, but look, I spent last week in a hostel.
You need a communal shower.
Are we discovering something about you, Steve?
Well, this is what happens when I have one bottle of old crafty hen. So, right, I think we need to call it a night there. Mike, thank you so much.
Mate, I've had a wonderful time. This has been great.
Deep into your memory.
Should have done it sooner. Just stop recording it on a Friday, and I'll come along more often.
Oh, it's like that, is it? We'll change.
No, I have a very busy social. I don't have a busy social. My wife has a very busy social life on my behalf. That's why I don't get too many Fridays. But let me know when you're doing the next one, and if you want me back, I'm happy to come along. I've enjoyed it.
Fucking right, we'll have you back on again. Yeah, you are part of the collective, mate, whether you like it or not. It's yeah,
collective.
Fucking grin on his face.
Like
and I suppose just to thank you as well, because
no thanks necessary. I'll keep turning up even if you don't want me here. I'm just gonna
alone on a Zoom call. Yeah,
I'll be just kicking the door down and just screaming about like all Black Sabbath matters. Tony Martin.
Well, in the spirit of all that, our next episode will be you and I will be having a chat with Gert, because they got a new album out in a week or so, Satan etc., which is really fucking good. Really enjoying that. So
I'm going to start the campaign for Gert for Desertfest
that's kind of why I dropped it in. I thought that if they're a Desertfest, 100%, aren't they? Perfect for the band.
If they're not playing next year, it's going to be a little bit worse than it could be.
There you go. That says it all. So yeah, check that out in a few days. But until that point, thanks everyone for listening. 98 episodes in, we're getting close to the century. Thank you all.
Are you doing anything for the big one?
Well, you'd have to wait and see, won't you?
Is that a cricket reference for Nigel's benefit?
he wouldn't notice it anyway. And on that note, thanks everybody for listening. And as per usual, stay metal, and we'll see you soon.